still kind of trying to decide whether or not we're going to go back to Alaska next summer or come and like visit a little bit in Thailand.
Which is what you should do.
Yeah, I think so. But also emotions were high, a couple of weeks ago when all that election
Summer's
happened.
rough here. Yeah. Summer's rough here, man. It's very, very wet. It's not the most pleasant time to visit northern Thailand.
Right.
Because
That's
it
another reason
basically
to visit Alaska.
it basically rains every single day, all day. It can anyway. It can. Early summer is fine, but late summer, bad idea.
It's like going to see some islands and stuff. It'd be like, well, if you don't mind getting
No,
rained
the
on.
islands are south, so they're out of the jungle, so it's not so bad. It rains. Hazel, cut it out. It rains, but it doesn't rain that much.
It starts already.
Say hello, cat.
There she is.
Angry.
She looks so upset on the camera.
She's not though. She's just like, oh,
Put me down. I can go back to being attention monger.
I'm a cat.
I'm a cat. Dude, it's been a while, eh?
Hey man, it's been a while.
At least 3 weeks because we had 1 week off.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So hey, we're on the internet, dude.
I figured as much. Welcome to Critters in Taiwan, a D&D podcast about Critical Role, where a bunch of nerdy ass voice actors sit around and play Dungeons and Dragons. I am Ben in Chiang Mai, Thailand.
I am Tim in Taichung, Taiwan.
And we are Critters in Thailand, Wan.
Yep. Kind of Southeast Asia, but not really Taiwan, according to things.
Jesus, that's my water. Okay, you're gonna. Bye. Bye.
Yeah, that's a very temporary bye.
Yes.
She looked like meow. Lacey's down there destroying a moose somewhere.
Anyway,
man. So we have 3 episodes, but also 1 week off. So we
did
done this in a month.
It's been a month. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're talking about tonight. We'll probably be talking about first and foremost episode 112, the assembling of legends. Yep. Episode 113, assault on the Malleus Key, and episode 114, fight for the bloody bridge. But first, we will be talking about finally Legend of Vox Machina season 3, because you're finally caught up, and it's been 3 months since I've already watched it, so I forget everything.
What's funny about that is that like after I watched it, I put myself in the shoes of like perhaps a viewer or yourself, and I'm like, how is it possible that somebody podcasts about this show that hasn't seen that yet? After I was watching it, because when you were saying like with no spoilers, because you're really good at that, you're like, they change enough to keep me on the edge of my seat, and you're like, I don't know, because I'm watching with my girlfriend too, and she's like, wait, what, and I don't know if this show is all spoilers. I guess I could spoil.
Just go.
So if you're new to the show, don't be new. Go back and watch all the other ones. All spoilers. Everything across the CR universe, Critical Role universe. When Percy dies, and then they just start the next episode, him in a casket.
Yep.
And then she's like, "What?" She's like, "Percy dies? A main character dies?" I'm like, I don't know what to say.
Yeah, I know. I know. I said the same thing. I'm like, I don't know what to say here, man. Like, what's going on? Are they going to permanently kill?
Yeah.
Because in the stream, he was gone. He was out for like a round, and then he was right back up again.
Yeah, and that was with Ripley that killed him, right? When they finally found her in the snowfield or whatever, right?
That's right. And then they nuke Ripley, and then Pike revives Percy just like that. Happens real quick.
But he did die, and she did kill him, but but she like came back, and then they had the end of the episode, and then we went to the next one.
Yeah.
And the liberties they took with this show, dude. Like season 1, it's like, okay, here's what happened in Critical Role. Season 2, basically the same thing with a few liberties.
Few liberties here and there,
and the third, oof.
Oh yeah, they went all out and just changed all kinds of shit.
It was so good.
Quick little thing. What did you think about the death of Kasha? Like out of nowhere, Thordak just gone.
I was thinking, because I was thinking at that time there was the Bard's Lament, probably my favorite episode across all campaigns.
Our favorite episode for sure.
I was thinking that. What the fuck is this? I got new programs starting up on my damn computer. Man, I don't even use it for a long time. Anyway, so I'm thinking like Bard's Lament, because that's kind of happening. Because like he's like, lets go of Pike's hand right before the teleportation, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, well, that didn't happen like that in
Nope.
the show. And
Nope.
I said that to my girlfriend too, but then later he's like on the counter on the finale episode, he's like, nope, I'm going to do this. I'm like, but then also I
Mm.
thought maybe he died, but then no, he
Yep.
was breathing and it
Yep.
was like, Jesus, I thought I
There-
spoiled
it-
something
it's
for her.
right. It's up, it's down, it's up, it's down. You don't know where they're going. They start changing things. You're like, wait, is everything going to be different? Are they
Yeah.
going to change that too? No, okay, they didn't change that. Oh, but they're changing this one. Oh, fuck! What am I
Yeah.
watching?
And like
Right.
if Percy dies,
Mm-hmm.
but like I knew that season 4 was coming before I finished watching season 3.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so they said like, "Yep, season 4 coming up," and I'm like, "Okay, that's like a minor spoiler because I know that it's continuing on." But I
Yes.
thought maybe they would continue without Percy, and I'm like,
Yeah.
"That's impossible because he's in season 3." Unless
Everybody
they're going to
knew.
completely divert from all of this canon shit.
Yeah, everybody
then-
knew that there was going to be a season 4. It didn't matter. It just getting greenlit was the big deal.
Well,
That's
at the-
that's all that happens.
Oh, right. I mean, as
Yeah.
far as content available,
Yes.
of course.
Yes.
Yeah, but then fuck, what was I gonna say? Like with Kasha, for example, like
Yeah.
when he just like he was the one that brought someone back. He brought Vex back, right?
He brought Vex back in the underwater temple when Percy trips the trap
Yeah,
for
and that was straight up in the show, pretty good.
The vestige. What was what vestige
It was
was it?
Deathwalker's Ward.
Deathwalker's Ward. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then like Percy died, you know, and they start the episode where he's in a casket and they're walking him along. And it was like, this is not the same.
Mhm.
So I don't know what the fuck's going on here.
Mhm.
And then I was like, okay, well, Pike is not really available for this kind of thing. But then Kasha shows up. I'm like, oh, that's right. He can do this too. And then
Mhm.
they kill him. And
Yep.
I'm like, whoa, what's going to
Yep.
happen to Percy? What the
Yep.
fuck? And then I don't know. And, you know, so my girlfriend's asking me, she's like, wait, so this? And I'm like, I don't know. And I can't
don't
say
know.
anything.
They're really good at keeping secrets, and
Yeah.
they're keeping us on our toes here. So it's like I said, it was just enough that I wasn't that worried that they were going to kill Percy off, because you're like, yeah, it doesn't make sense. There's Taliesin is way too involved in this. Like it doesn't make that much sense. But they're gonna drag it out for a little bit, and that's what I ultimately figured. The other stuff was a little bit more of a surprise, like the way that the way that they handled. I really loved the finale and the way that they handled Raishon taking over the body of Thordak, and then how Vax takes it out. I don't know if it's a he or she at that point. It doesn't really matter. Takes out the diseased Thordak, Raishon, whatever it is, in that epic moon shot and all. It's just stunning.
It's
really,
awesome.
really different from everything else.
Yeah.
So they never go and fight Raishon in her lair, right? Because she's just it's like those sorts of little things. You're like, oh, that has repercussions, because that means that whole arc where they go to the island of
The
wherever
Shattered Teeth.
was it in the Shattered Teeth? It was somewhere, and it was like it was
Glint
was it
Shore. What are we
Light
talking
Shore
about here?
maybe. It was, I don't remember, but
I
it
love
was
the visual representation of it, the ripples and the
Yes.
the jagged,
Yep.
the jagged teeth. I don't know. Maybe I'm thinking of two different places, but you know,
It's the point is they didn't go to the necromancer's lair or her lair, which was an old necromancer's lair, if I remember right, something like that. I could
Yeah.
be wrong about that too.
I mean, it had something to do with the whispered one, right? Didn't it?
No, that's the Delilah. That's the Briarwood arc.
Oh, right.
That's
okay.
that's the ziggurat underneath Whitestone.
Right. They did.
Which is the spoiler for at the very end of, or the post credits trailer at the end of very end of season 3, when the whispered one.
Yeah, and they that because they showed the spinning orb, you know, and like I wasn't gonna say anything, but then like as soon as it showed up again, girlfriend, she was like, oh, that's right, that thing. And then of course it has to come back because it's a big part of the show, but they have taken their liberties, so I don't know if what they're gonna do.
So they did 2 seasons on the Chroma Conclave arc. I wonder how many seasons they're gonna do on the Vecna arc.
And they're also doing Mighty Nine too,
right,
dude.
I was just gonna say that they're also doing Mighty Nine. And they're going to be wrapping up this. This looks like the end arc for campaign 3. So they'll be wrapping that up as well, and then there's probably plans to animate it also.
Yeah.
So who knows?
Why wouldn't they? You know.
Yeah. Why wouldn't you? 100%.
And at this point, like, you know, they're going to be in their 50s, whatever, when it finally airs. So it's like,
Yep.
all right, this is just the last little
Last little thing.
retirement thing that we do
The
that, keeps us
One of the
good.
things, if we're talking about all that sort of stuff, I was sort of thinking about this logically, and you've got all these things in the works, and Marisha's always saying, we're just getting started, we're just getting started, we're just getting started. When does campaign 4 start? Because they've got Beacon now, and if they take a long break after, so let's look at season 3 ending in January, probably the earliest, February at the latest. If they're off for a significant amount of time, waiting until season 4, that they're losing subscriptions from Beacon, which is what they're trying to build, this brand. So that's not a good thing. So that, I think there's a real quick turnaround with campaign 4. And I don't like saying this because I don't think it's a good idea, but it's a distinct possibility that they run campaign 4 using Daggerheart.
I assumed they would do that.
I don't think it's fair to assume. I think there's a chance. They don't. I think the fly in that is going to be WotC and what WotC wants to do with branding of D&D through Critical Role, because they use D&D Beyond and they make no bones about it. That's what they use.
Which was failing them immensely in this last game.
Oh yeah, that was
It was
bad.
crashing for everybody constantly.
Yep.
Like they were banking on it.
I think that if WotC throws some money at them and some other stuff, who knows what, a really good agreement, if they can start using beholders maybe or something like that, then who knows? Maybe. We'll see.
Yeah. I mean, I just figured, like, with all the WotC stuff that was going on, that they would, like, that kind of spurred their development of Daggerheart, you know?
Yeah, I think personally, I think the problem is that there's not enough of a positive response for Daggerheart yet. Right. It doesn't have a following like D&D does.
Good point.
It's good, it's fun, people like watching it, but it does not have the views at all. And I think that's a gamble if they go that way, because they might lose some audience members. They might pick some up because it's a more whimsical system, but I think ultimately they lose more viewers than they would gain. Yeah. I think that's just my sort of that's me talking like old school guy, like, I want to see more D&D. It's more like I don't know, but maybe.
You know what's really exciting about it, thinking about it, is that I don't think it's not going to be Exandria again. It's going to be a whole new world, I would assume.
Maybe. I wonder what's going to.
We might assume around.
it might be a direct result. Campaign 4 setting might be a direct result of the next couple of months of campaign 3. Right? Because if madness starts happening to Exandria, yeah, maybe it's something completely new. Maybe they go Space Jammer. Like we like this idea of going to other planets. Let's play in the Astral Sea. Let's do a campaign in the Astral Sea. Why not, right? So I don't know.
Who knows? I mean, they got to change enough, right?
Yep.
You know, or just have another campaign in the same world setting, and then see what happens. But you know, just like with every new album that comes out from a band, you got to change enough to keep it interesting, but also keep enough familiarity to maintain your fans. I don't know, like. I also thought about, like, what if they don't have the 4th campaign and they toss it off to someone else,
Maybe.
Or something like that.
Yep. There was an interview just this past week about, and this question got brought up, is it going to be Daggerheart? And Travis full on said, wait and see. That's all. He was like, well, I'm not going to spoil anything. You'll have to wait and see, and we'll let you know when the time comes, and blah, blah, blah. There was a lot of... just wait and see.
It's like a 4-sided dive episode. Be like, Matthew, what was this? He's like, can't say. Sorry.
Can't say.
Like, next question. Fuck. I'm with the wait and see. I'm part of the wait and see tribe. Because I don't like spoilers to any degree. You know this about me. And
I'm the opposite. Spoilers don't bother me at all. I don't crave them. I don't care about them. They don't matter. I'm like, okay, whatever. It's just nothing really surprises me.
Yeah, girlfriend's the same way. She's like, wait, did Percy really die? No, just tell me right now. I'm like, I'm not gonna, I can't do that. It's not a part of my soul to spoil something like that for you. I'm quite sure he's not dead permanently. Quite sure. I don't know how they're going to bring it back.
Yeah.
But also she was watching the campaign 3 episode where they were playing them. She's like, "Wait, that's
Mm-hmm.
Percy's voice." I'm like, "Yeah, that's
Right.
Percy." And she's like,
Right.
"So," I'm like, "I don't know. I don't know."
Right. Fun. Fun. So, should we talk a little? Are we gonna talk about a little bit more about LOVM, or do you want to move on to 112, 113, 114?
Let me go ahead and segue with a little thought that I had.
Okay.
Because one thing I noticed, this kind of bridges the gap between Legends of Vox Machina. That's kind of hard to say, and Bell's Hells, or the third campaign rather, because they were playing Legends of Vox Machina.
And we'll be playing Mighty Nine next, and then Bell's Hells again. Yeah.
Can't wait, dude. So sweet. Is that okay? So I am just fresh off of season 3 of the animated show, and then one thing I noticed, which is I kind of forgot from a long time ago, is how like Pike and Grog call each other buddies. You know, like pluralize it. It's just one of those things that kind of I feel like is maybe a nod at Letterkenny, just because of Dirty Squirrely Dan.
Squirrely, it could be. Yeah,
just puts
could be.
S's on everything, pluralizes everything. Yep. And they're like buddies, you know, and I don't remember hearing that for a long time.
Okay.
But in the show, they said it, and then when they're playing them in campaign 3, they're saying it again. Yep. And it got me thinking, I wonder how, if getting off of doing the show has influenced them playing the characters in campaign 3.
Oh, I think so. They spoke a bit about that this past episode where they said, oh no, sorry, it was maybe the Four-Sided Dive. They said that it was really easy because we had just stepped out of the post and we'd been watching it all and all of it, you know,
the watch parties,
the watch parties and all that, and then it was much easier to get back into their things and who they were, and then sort of build into who they are now. Like I think they were saying things like Keyleth, no difference, basically. Vex, no difference at all. Percy, a lot of difference. Grog, a little bit the same. He's just a little, he's more or less the same. Pike, it was pretty funny when they were talking about Ashley, right? About saying how she made Pike super old. And they're like, wait, but gnomes live for hundreds of years. Yeah, what are you doing? I was like, oh.
But then Sam too, right? Because he was like, well, I just kind of pictured myself, but would I be like 26, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean,
30 years is nothing for a gnome, you know.
Nothing. No, nothing at all. And the whole the idea of him going through his midlife crisis as well with the silver saddles was pretty funny. I mean, like, okay, sure, I guess that makes sense. But then, like he said, when Ashley suddenly threw out that they had been divorced 3 times, he was like, wait, what? Oh, okay.
I guess that's canon.
Yep.
That's, I mean, that speaks volumes about Pike, really.
It does a lot.
Because like Scanlan's gonna fight for it, I guess, because I guess he's always just deathly in love with her, you know. I don't know, but they also talked. It's like, wait, so are you seeing anybody? And then she had to make up on the spot. Poor Ashley, she's just not good at the improvising, but she's like, yeah, I'm seeing somebody, but it's just you know, it's not serious. It's just companionship. It's like, okay, so you're fucking. Right?
Yeah,
that's what everybody's
thinking.
You're just fucking somebody. All right.
Okay. All right.
And then she's also doing that, thinking that she looks older. So it's like, okay, all right. Well done, Ash. Yeah. So that curiosity was like, I wonder how much of like the show has maybe influenced how they portray the characters this time around. 'Cause there's a big difference between when they're in front of a microphone in a studio and when they're at the table.
For sure.
You know, because they're acting 100% of the time in front of the mic, but at the table they go in and out. You know.
Yeah. They're I think they're very aware that there's cameras on and it is recording and it's it's all of that. But the idea that they get lost in the immersion of it all and really just play the game.
Yeah. Yep. Now, oh god, there was something that Laura said that I kind of forgot, but it was like if the show, the animated show, didn't happen, I wonder if she would have remembered that or something. I don't remember what it was though. It might come up later.
Oh yeah, I remember what you're talking about. Yeah, that's right. There was a moment where that's right. It was in the segue where Taliesin was bringing up that they were all just a couple of bad choices away from being evil, all of them. And the Mighty Nine was I think what Taliesin said, they were the most the closest of all 3 campaigns to being the bad guys.
Totally.
There
Yeah.
were there was multiple, and we've talked about this many times. There was multiple moments where it was like the Mighty Nine was very close to becoming the bad guys. They even
Mhm.
said it themselves. Are we the bad guys? You know, they did crazy shit. So
Yeah.
yeah, Vox Machina also. I think that's what she was talking about, was in that vein where Vex something about, and she's like, yeah, maybe I never really thought about that way, but because the animated show, it's changed my mind about things, or something like that. I can't remember what exactly either.
Yeah.
In
I
that
don't,
vein.
yeah, I don't remember exactly what it was. It might again. It might come up later, but
Yep.
yeah, it's because the campaign that we all watched live on Twitch or what have
Mhm.
you, or YouTube, what have you.
Yep.
Not exactly the same as the show. Of course, they
No.
took a lot of
No.
liberties, and
No. They
they
cut
kind
they
of
cut a lot out. They had to 140 episodes or whatever it was.
yeah. And they
So
changed
yeah.
things to make it fit in the time frame that they
Yep.
have, and
Yep.
then took massive liberties in season 3.
Yep.
Like the key to the mansion, like it could have
Hmm.
been Vex's,
Yep.
because she saw it and he's like, nope, come on, I killed a dragon, let me keep it. Now it's
Yeah.
his all of a sudden, But yeah,
Yeah.
like you said, it's enough to keep me on the edge of my seat
That
because I thought I
the
knew everything was going to happen, but nope, we don't.
Right, and I think they talked a little bit. I'd been thinking about this the entire time I was watching season 3, and they brought it up on this four-sided dive as well. Is that the way that they showed, this is something that I've tried really hard to do in D&D as well, is that how the showing the characters gaining new abilities, like watching
Yeah,
Keyleth go through the earth
the Earth,
ritual,
the
whatever
Earth
whatever
ritual,
the
yeah.
ritual thing is, yeah, to be able to speak to them around all around the world, and all those things. So it's like, yeah, this is really neat. It was really fun to watch that sort of learning new abilities. We get to see Scanlan with his new mansion and the whole idea where that all came from, and yeah, it's really really fun to watch.
It
I
was
like that. I like that aspect a lot about D&D, is
it's
building.
hilarious.
No, go ahead.
Oh yeah, I mean, like one thing, kind of more serious, I suppose, is like Vax and his ability with the wings. In the
Yes.
game, you have it for a minute, and you have to wait a
Yep.
day to do it again, right? But in the
Yep.
show, he just has wings. That's fine.
Yes.
It's a show.
Yes.
It's fine.
Yep.
And then
Yep.
it cracked me up when Keyleth got her Earth thing, and it was like, hey, the Earth is connected. You can talk to these people, and her face
Yep.
shows up.
Yeah. Yeah, it's amazing.
And
Amazing.
who was it that was on the beach having a moment? Who was that? And her face,
Was it?
like,
I think it was Vax.
was it Vax and Vex? Or
No,
was
they
it?
were in. Where were they? They
It
were
was
in
Vax and
Grog.
Vex, right?
I think so. Yeah, on the beach.
And they were
Yeah, and
having
he's
a
like,
real
"Oh my
heavy-
God, what is
And,
that?"
and like
Yep.
in that moment, we're like, I'm crying and they're crying,
Yep.
and then her
Yep.
face shows up in the sand. You're like, hey guys, it's hilarious, dude.
And then in the branches of the tree of the ruin of
Yeah.
Great
What the
Skull.
fuck?
Yep. Yeah.
I don't know
Yep.
if you guys can hear me, but it was so good.
Oh, so weird.
One
Yeah, it
final
was fun.
thing, perhaps
Sure.
final thing about watching it, because I watched through the first and second seasons before I watched 3. We blasted through them. The first time I watched them, I felt like I was so fresh off of watching the D&D game that I felt like it was too rushed, kind of like going to watch the Lord of the Rings after
Okay.
reading the books, kind of thing.
Yep.
You know,
Yep.
I felt
Sure.
like everything was so rushed, and I was like, okay, well, it's a fine adaptation, but I didn't get it as much. But this time, after having this much separation, temporal separation, I was able to watch it as a show that stood by itself, and it is
Okay.
quite good.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
was really good. My girlfriend thoroughly enjoyed it.
Nice.
Like
That's
we would
awesome.
watch like 4 or 5 episodes at a time.
Yeah. Well, it's
instead
great.
of
It's
the
nice when they're
3.
right, and it's nice when they're only 20-minute bites. Yeah, you can
Yeah.
zip through 4 of them. Yeah.
You can binge it. Yep.
Yep.
So they're still on this old USB. Just plug it right into the TV, and it just shows up with subtitles and
click.
everything. It's great.
Yep. Yeah. Amazon. That's why Amazon.
Hmm.
It's amazing when, like, Amazon being so big and global that they include all the subtitles, like the traditional and simplified Chinese show up. It's wonderful. I
They're
like
both
that.
labeled simplified, but if you choose the second one, because T comes after S, it says simplified Chinese and
Oh,
simplified Chinese. But if you choose the
that's
second
interesting.
one, it's
Because
traditional.
the one that I have, it says in Chinese, traditional Chinese, and the other one is simplified.
Oh, yeah, it just
Yeah.
says them all in English for me,
Okay.
but it might be different files because,
Oh, I see. Oh, your TV translates it to English,
oh,
or the file.
perhaps. Yeah,
Okay,
maybe
that
that's
might
it
be
too.
why. Right.
But it
I
just,
think it
yeah,
would still. All right,
just says
whatever.
simplified for both, but I always just
Weird.
choose the second one because the first
Right.
one's always simplified, the second one's always traditional. Like,
Interesting. Interesting.
what are you going to do?
Okay.
Uh, anyway, so we're segueing into
Right. We're
campaign
segueing
3.
into campaign 3. So we've got the hey, Jesus, fuck you. Yeah, I like to be pet. Get okay.
She's still a predator.
Yep.
She's still a vicious beast.
Yeah.
Sure, mind
She just
you.
rolled. She just rolled off the table. She literally was like, "I'll fuck you!" Ah!
I'll fuck
Went
you
right
up.
off the edge. Now she's just all bitter, sitting on the shelf. Oh no, she's back again. Get off the table. Get off.
Shame doesn't last
All
long
right,
for
I'm
a
back.
cat, but it does exist.
Yeah, I know. All right, so we're talking about we can talk about 112 real quick. That's where the episodes got split in half.
Right.
The first
That
half
was the Halloween episode, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
No, that was
No.
113 was the Halloween episode.
Okay.
That was the assault on the Malleus Key when they were all Nicolas Cage. 112 was the half episode, half Bell's Hells and Mighty Nine, and then they went back in time to where Vox Machina was, and they started with only a couple of them at the table.
Hold on a second.
Oh, was that the Halloween episode?
I want to say because one of the episodes ended, and I think we did talk about it, so that must have been 111. Because I was like, at the end of the episode, like, how many figures did we see? You see 7, and I didn't put it together. You know that they were all like, "Oh, let's be cool for Mighty Nine." I thought it was like lewdness and fucking 6 cronies or something, because I'm retarded that way.
Just
Does that get us
pop
off
it up
YouTube?
here.
But 112, I got 112, 113, 114, all in the same globule, and then as well as Vox Machina, Legends of Vox Machina.
Of course. Okay. So I'm going to go back, and I'm just pop 113. Where's nope.
Because 113, okay, which one was the Halloween? Because they started as Bell's Hells, and the second half they were Vox Machina. One of the episodes went that way, and I believe that was 112 because we didn't talk about that.
Okay.
Pretty sure.
This is annoying. YouTube, you suck. You shouldn't do it this way. I don't know
YouTube,
why you
you're
do
the
it this way.
worst.
But 70, 80, 112, 111. The 9 Hells was 111. The Assembling of Legends was 112. And 112 is that's Nicolas Cage.
Okay. So
Where
that
a bunch of nerdy ass Nick Cages. So that's the Assembling of Legends, and that's in the first half of this episode. It is the Mighty Nine and Bell's Hells, and then after the break, it's they go to the Assembling of Vox Machina. There's only a few players on the table. There's Vex, Pike, Grog, and Keyleth, and then we get Percy, and then we get Circonos, and then we get the Eptel.
And then eventually contact with Scanlan, and then
Right. And then the next episode.
at the beginning of the next episode, he says, "Yeah, I got to do this. Sorry, guys." And then Dr. Dramzel, Dr.
Dranzel. Yeah. Dr. Dranzel
like, hey,
takes the.
There's
takes
a reason
the
I'm the leader of the
saddles.
band. I can find a replacement, but hey, you're always welcome. You know. Yeah. That's right.
Exactly.
Right. So like that was basically 112 was all right.
The Assembling of Legends.
Yeah, Bell's Hells preparing for what they're supposed to do, and then going to Vox Machina, assembling. That's basically it. And then 113 was we start with Vox Machina, and then they go and set things up to go to the Malleus Key.
They find Scanlan first at the beginning of 113.
Yeah.
They find Scanlan, then they start setting things up to go to, and I've actually got it written down here at a time. I got a timestamp at 109, 1 minute, 1 hour, 9 minutes. Liam comes to the table as Leptel, and that was the whole thing. Is like nobody was really sure who he was going to be. He
Yeah.
kept it a secret right up to the very end. So wild. Just a quick little observation of mine. I wrote this down. Real wild observance by myself
Good
is
for you.
Lev Lev Levtel as a level 20 cleric. Her ability scores were 8, 14, 12, 19, 12, 14.
Hmm.
Yeah. Crazy
Wow.
low.
Just across.
Crazy low.
Wow.
Yep. 19 wisdom, but everything else is 8, 12, 14. So I'm like, okay, that only means one thing. Tons of feats. All the feats.
And you
So she
see
would
it.
you see it. That's right. So she's built to be a party, basically a buff,
A buffer.
a buffer. Yeah, she's.
I mean, you see that, like, she does that. It was a feat, not a ninth level spell, right? Where she said, like,
Yes.
okay, I'm
Yeah.
going to split 120 temporary hit points.
No,
You're
that
like,
was an eighth level spell.
that was a spell. Okay, an eighth level
Yes,
spell.
that was an eighth level spell. Yeah,
But
that
then,
was.
but then she did it
Damn it.
twice, right? Because she did it. She split it for two people, and then she put on herself another
She
120.
got. She got. Oh, she did mass heal at the end. It was no. It was
like 700
um.
hit points or something.
No, that was mass heal 500, and then the Rylauren, those
Okay.
dirty little fuckers. They have their little feature that Matt said, hey, you never encountered this before, but yeah, they all have the dampen divinity feature, which means it cuts all healing in half.
Oh, right.
Really, really interesting little thing. That never came up until just now.
Right. You
It'll
don't
be
see that
fun.
shit until you see level 20 characters, you know.
It'll be fun watching how that happens with Caduceus, because now they've got Jester and Caduceus, both two clerics, because Belcells don't have a cleric.
1.5.
So it'll be all right, sure. Full trickster clerics are still full clerics, just
all
not
right.
healers.
All right. We know you're watching, Laura.
Yeah, no, I thought it was interesting because like Leftel has all these abilities and all of these little cool little things, and Liam was having a fun time. Yeah,
Yeah.
man.
No better character to no better actor to give that kind of thing.
The
to,
Methodist, the Methodist of method actors at that table.
Yeah. Because I was telling my girlfriend, she's like, "Wait, are they acting right now?" I was like, "No, he's just telling him the numbers that they rolled." She's like, "I don't really understand why they're rolling dice." So I'm like, "Okay, here's the fundamentals."
Here we go. Yeah, the dice.
I get it.
You sit around and tell a story, and then the dice decide what the story actually is.
Yeah, it was, took a surprising amount to kind of explain that because but when I first watched it, I was like, wait, hold on a second. So they're characters?
Yeah.
I was equally as clueless as she was, but she's got it now. She's good. She's got a good teacher over here.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So anyway, then I got a couple of other things I wanted to say, but we can really say whatever. The one thing I will say, and I sent you this, I think I sent you a text at the break of episode 113, so last week's, when they got to the break and Matt starts describing when because they fucked up the landing, right? They didn't land at the Malleus Key. They were a little bit short and just off to the side, and Matt starts describing it. I'm like, oh, there is an epic map coming. You could, the way he was talking about it, I'm like, I even wrote it down. I'm like, there's I wrote down foreshadowing, epic map incoming. And then sure enough, after the break, I was like, I think that's when I texted you. I was like, dude, this is the biggest map they've ever put on the table. Yeah. And it was until episode 114, which was the biggest map they ever put on the table. I'm like, but that 113 blew my mind. I'm like, wait, what? And did you notice that when they started after the break, only Matt was at the table?
Yeah.
He called them in. Yeah. That's some baller shit, man. I was like,
you guys get out of here. I'm going to set this up, and then you guys come in. Yeah.
Yep. We want to see your reaction when this shows up.
Two things about those maps, those maps. First one, biggest map, awesome. And then I don't remember if it was 113 and 114 when they took down one of the towers, one of the rooks per se, on the edge, where Matthew took the thing off, replaced it with like a rubble thing, and then sprinkled some like pebbles.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, that's the foresight on that. Like, how does he think
Yeah.
of all this shit when we, like he's just in that world, and man,
Hmm.
he brings it to us in the best way.
He
It's
knows. He
beautiful.
knows that these are level 20. He's looking at those character sheets, going, okay, she's got earthquake. All right, there's a good chance she's going to use it.
Yeah,
They've got this, they've got that. There's a chance that Grog's got the knuckles. There's a good chance he's going to start destroying stuff. They've got all these abilities. He's got to be thinking that these things are maybe going to happen, so he's got to be
yeah.
prepared for it.
I mean, earthquake was
When
monumental in the first campaign, and then
Yeah.
I guess when Grog
Yep.
got the because he's got double damage for siege, right?
Yep. Yep.
And yeah, so I guess, but like I didn't expect it to happen, or maybe I'm getting my things wrong. I didn't expect it to happen before they got to the key, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, the key battle was interesting because it felt. I got two things to say about it. I wrote myself a note here about this is how a DM levels the playing field by putting them into this was 113 when they short the landing and they have to get their way, they have to fight their way to it. And I'm like, yeah, he's throwing stuff at them to soften them up to before they actually have the big battle. But even with that softening up, 8 level 20 characters, it's just action economy. And a lot of comments, I'm not the only one that commented on this. There's not much that any DM can do short of dropping a Tarask on them
Right.
or a Kraken or like some Titan. There's not much, even with the Ozo, the Sunder King, and I mean, yeah, Ozo took out Vex right
In
away,
one
but
one
that's
turn, less than
in
one
one
turn.
term,
Yeah.
right? But there was no way that was gonna last because it's like, nah, that's it. It did like they can't. There's none of them. The two critters, the worm, the bane worm, and the giant Vidulch, and Ozo. There is no way those three. Also, the other thing is, it was pointed out to me, and I didn't catch that. He didn't do any legendary resistances,
Right.
Matt, for any of those three.
Yeah, and I
None
think
of them.
Travis kind of brought it up. He's like,
He
don't you think,
Yeah, yeah, and he never did throw those out there. And it's like, okay, yeah, you're gonna drop one, maybe drop two, but the other 6 or 7 will pulverize these eventually. And it only lasted 4 rounds, I think, total.
any legendary
It's
actions?
yes, yeah, he used a
But no
couple of legendary
resistances.
actions, but no resistances. Yeah, which is a key feature. Legendary actions are all fine and dandy. They disrupt action economy, and that's important, but it's not nearly as important as legendary resistances.
Yeah,
Legendary
you drain
resistances are
those so
way
that
more
things start
important.
to work. Yeah.
Yeah, right, and it drains the party of resources as well. It's supposed to level everything out.
Yeah.
That's the intent. But
Yeah, that was interesting.
when yep.
Like no
So
resistances
I was
came
sort of like,
about.
I was never really worried. I was a little disappointed in Ashley blowing her divine intervention on a revivify. That was a little shocking. I'm like, that's a mistake. Not a consequential mistake, but it's in the min maxer in me is like, that's a mistake. You
Right.
don't do that.
But she
You
couldn't.
you
She couldn't get there, so she was
you
like,
have a minute. You have
Yeah.
a minute for revivify. It's not that big of a deal.
Hmm.
So it's not that important. It's only been like 30 seconds. The whole entire battle has only been like 20, 30 seconds.
Yeah.
And then Vex dies, you have a full minute after that to get over there and cast the spell.
Yeah.
The divine intervention was fine because as was also pointed out, we don't really know what Matt's rules for
Right.
revivify and all of that are. So maybe the divine intervention was necessary. I don't
Right.
know.
'Cause
But I felt it was a mistake.
Because I was thinking, I remembered way before the divine intervention happened, or channel divine intervention.
Divine intervention.
Before it happened, I was sitting there thinking, like, wait a minute, they're level 20. That means that if they do it, it counts, or it happens, it works, whatever they
Yeah,
ask
it's
for.
100%.
But choose
Yes,
your words,
once a
right?
week,
Once a week.
which is wild. Let's think about that. Just pause
That's
there for a
insane.
quick second.
Yeah.
There are multiple. There's Pike. There's Jester. There's Caduceus. There's all of these clerics that are level 20 that have divine intervention that get it 52 times a year.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and they're not the only ones in this world. Why is there not divine intervention shit popping off all over the place all the time?
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you've got these epic, and then I started thinking, I'm like, oh, but wait a minute. That means that divine intervention also means that the god wants to do it. So I feel like 51 times of the year, the god's going to go like, nah, you're good. Figure it out on your own. Sorry.
Like
I'm not doing that for you.
what if a piece of shit gets up to level 20 and they're just like, come on, man, there's no ketchup here. Be like,
Yeah.
sorry, dude, that's not worth my time.
That's not how this works. Yeah. Like it's divine intervention, not divine fucking
I'll take care of it.
on call. Yeah.
Yeah. And also, after calamity and all that stuff, we kind of get the idea that these deities are fairly human. They got their flaws, they got their things. They're just as flawed as we are, as they said. I guess that was kind of the point, right?
Yeah.
But then you sit there and it's like, yeah, okay. And they talked about bringing people back from the dead. It brings up a bunch of I'm forgetting the word issue on the spot. Issues as far as like, why bring this person back instead of that person?
Right.
Like why your friend instead of Winston Churchill or another good example, right? So like divine intervention could be like, okay, well Vex is dead, but we could use an army of angels instead.
Yep.
Hey, can you bring an army of angels and we'll deal with her later? And like I thought about that before anybody used it. It was like
also speaking of which, it was really interesting watching speaking of angels. There was a moment when he's like, yeah, the angels and the devils have all put their stuff aside right now for they're not fighting each other. They're coming together as a common cause. I'm like, yeah, but that's calamity. That's downfall. That's what we're talking about here.
Downfall. That's what I meant. Downfall. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. It's interesting.
No.
They're very. Yeah, who knows? I think that Bell's Hells and Mighty Nine and Vox Machina, all three of them are very aware of that situation now, and it's going to come into play sooner than we think, I think.
Yeah. I always felt a little bit leery of divine intervention, especially at level 20, and then also the wish spell, because you got to be careful with that wish spell, because it's like you make a wish. And it happens.
There's a problem with that. That's the problem with it. RAW, R-A-W, read as written. It doesn't work that way.
Right.
In D&D in 5th edition, wish really doesn't work the way we always say it does. Like, oh, you can just wish for anything. Doesn't really work that way. That's sort of a house rule by Matt Mercer. The idea, if you go and you look up what the actual wording of wish is, what it really is designed to do is to give you any spell 8th level or lower for free.
That's raw?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yes.
Okay.
It's not really designed to be like, I wish for a mansion. I wish we could
all get back to maximum hit points, plus 30 temporary.
No. It doesn't really. It's not really designed to work that way. I can look it up for you because I've done this before.
I only know it from like the first time I heard of it was campaign 1. The famous example of he was like, well, I'm going to counterspell this instead of wish for Vax to come back to life, right? When Sam for the first time ever cried on camera. Remember in the first campaign, episode 114.
Yes. Okay, it's a very long spell. But the basic use
with it makes sense.
Yeah, wish is the mightiest spell a mortal creature can cast. By simply speaking aloud, you can alter the very foundation of reality according to your desires. The basic use of this spell is to duplicate any other spell of 8th level or lower. You don't need to meet any requirements in that spell, including costly components. The spell simply takes effect. Alternatively, and so this is where it gets weird. Alternatively, you can create one of the following effects of your choice. You create one object of up to 25,000 golden pieces that isn't a magic item, blah, blah, blah. You allow up to 20 creatures that you can see to regain all hit points.
Oh, look at that.
And you end all effects described as in greater restoration. Number 3, you grant up to 10 creatures that you can see resistance to a damage type. Number 4, you can grant up to 10 creatures you can see immunity to a single spell or other magical effect for 8 hours.
Sounds like they're just spitballing here.
you grant blah, blah, blah. You undo a single recent event by forcing a reroll of any roll you made within the last round. Reality reshapes itself, blah, blah, blah.
6 seconds.
Then, 6 seconds. Then it goes into, I'm not going to read all this stuff, but you might be able to achieve something beyond the scope of the above examples. State your wish to the DM as precisely as possible.
Right.
The DM has great latitude and blah, 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 blah. That's where it gets weird. But the intended use was to be for duplicate an 8th level spell or lower, or one of those effects, which isn't really as good as an 8th level spell or lower.
Right, with no
So
cost.
that's with no cost, right? Doing an 8th level spell or lower at no cost is really where the wish spell shines, because you don't have to pay for anything, and that's what it's supposed to be.
Yeah,
Now
we don't have.
then
I don't remember the cost. Like, we don't have $1,000 worth of diamond dust, but I want to bring this
right
person back to life.
in the old one it was like 10,000. I think in Pathfinder or 3.5, I forget what, 10,000 gold pieces for reincarnate, like to come back from the dead. It's very, very costly, and the wish spell trumps that.
Right,
So
and
you're like, okay,
that's probably where the second thing came in, where it's like, oh, or you can
right,
make something appear that's 25,000 or whatever. That kind of takes
yes,
care of the loss of
right, right,
yeah,
yeah, all those sorts of things, and not
loss of
non-magical items
resources.
that are worth
Yeah,
25,000 resources, right?
right.
And those sorts of things. It's like, okay, well, here's yeah, this is how we're going to do these things. So yeah, but then you get that's where rule of cool comes in. So rule of cool sort of is like, no, well, let's make wishes actual, like genie in a bottle wishes, where you can be a little tricksy if you want about the wording, or you can just let the players just have whatever they want because it's a fucking game, and who cares about rules like that? It's dumb.
Yeah.
So I think both of those are valid points, but raw, it's not supposed to work the way we've seen it work in Critical Role, or it is up to the DM. So yes, it
Right.
is. I'm full of shit.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, I think they cover it pretty well. They're like, okay, or alternatively, you say something
Hmm.
and let the DM decide how
Yeah.
much or what they
That's
want
right.
to do, you know? And hey,
That's right.
there it is, page 4. Check it, like
Yep.
really cool,
Ooh,
whatever.
not page 4 anymore.
Uh-oh.
New rules. I got the new player's handbook and the new
What
DMG.
page is it now?
Uh, it doesn't exist in the new DMG.
Oh.
By the way, big shout out to fucking Wizards of the Coast. 5 stars on the new player's handbook and 6 out of 5 stars for the DMG. It is by and large, I think, the best Dungeon Master's Guide I've ever read on any edition.
Wow.
It's excellent.
You
It's
got through it,
written.
eh?
Yeah, I've read through almost the whole thing. Yeah, I got a physical copy. My buddy printed a
Damn.
copy out for me. It's a copy. It's not. Sorry, I didn't buy one. It's fucking pirated shit. But I got a physical printed out copy of it, and I read through most of it. And it's so well written. It's written for new DMs. It's really written for new DMs.
Oh, so accessible
And
but
it's
comprehensive.
so good. It's so well laid out that even if you're not a new DM, like I'm a newish DM, but I'm not new. I
Yeah.
was reading through it and I was like, oh yeah, that's right. Keep that in mind. Keep those things in mind. It's a good refresher for old experienced DMs to sort of get
Huh.
in. And they've changed enough of the rules, added a bunch of new magic items, and done away with some things. And it's great. It's excellent.
Nice.
Very, very, very good. I was very happy with it. Poison. They dealt with all the issues of poison finally, and it's good. It makes sense. Very, very clever. Yeah.
What were the issues with poison?
Poison never worked as poison. It just gave like disadvantage, and that was it. It's like, meh,
Right,
done.
but it
Okay, you're
wasn't to make you
poisoned.
sick or anything. It
You're
was just
poisoned. Woo, big deal. It was always just like, oh, you're poisoned. Okay, now you're just sort of like, okay, you have disadvantage until you're not poisoned. Big deal. Now it's a whole fucking table, and it's a list of things. You're like, oh, if you want to use these rules, it makes you do this instead and that instead. And there's all these different flavors of poisons, and different poisons do different things. It's really clever. It's very, very well thought out. It's a bit more. You got to remember some stuff, or you got to consult charts and tables and things. But poisons are not all equal. Like we know that in real life, not all poisons are the same. So food poisoning is not anthrax. I
right.
mean, right?
Well done. Yeah. If I remember correctly, one of the very first video games I played was Final Fantasy VI, otherwise known as
Mm,
3 in the States.
mm.
And poison always sucked because you're just losing hit points.
Yeah.
But it wasn't like at the start of your turn or the end of your turn, like in a D&D game.
Yeah.
It was just on a timer. It was just
Ah, right, right,
like an
right. That's
actual
video game.
25
Video game.
seconds goes past.
That's
You
that's
just
the
lose
way
some
that
health, and it
that's the way
can
that
kill
the
you.
old editions. Yeah, that's the way old editions were. In you lost. Pathfinder was for sure like that. 3.5 was like that. 3, I think, and then I think most editions were like the DM would just roll, and then you would get Hazel.
It's
Don't
like a
do that.
D6. Yeah, it's like
Yeah, or whatever,
take 2
depending on
points.
depending on the strength of the poison, it was usually like a D6 or 2D6 or something like that.
Yeah. One thing I really liked though, like in the video game, which I got way before even knowing about D&D, was that it was just on like a 20, 25 seconds. So if you take long for this one person to,
Yeah.
what am I going to do? What am I going to do? This person's just losing hit points over here.
Slowly dying.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's
Video
I
games.
loved it. It was terrifying. Like when something had poison, it was a formidable foe.
Yep.
But I don't know much about D&D.
So yeah, I was saying, so the page 4 thing about the DM has discretion about all matters. That doesn't really exist on page 4 anymore. Doesn't really exist anywhere. It sort of talks about the DM and the different roles that the DM has, but it never really says that the DM is sort of like is omnipotent. They've moved away from that idea, and it's more facilitator role, referee, facilitator, storyteller, and the rest of the world. It's not really about the DM having the final say in things and all of that. It's you're referee, and you can be an arbitrator as well, but they've moved away from that sort of harsh. I don't even want to say it's harsh because it wasn't really harsh language, but a little bit more cut and dry language.
That's great to hear. You
Yeah,
know? It's
really,
nice to hear
really
that
good.
something new coming out is actually more
good,
conducive to new and seasoned.
It met expectations because people were saying that needed to be the case, and they're like, we've submitted all of our problems with 2014 rules, and there's a lot of them, and they really, really, really held true to all of the things. They're like, yeah, we didn't do it right the first way. Let's do it right this way.
There you go. That's what you want.
Real good.
You know,
that's what we want. Yeah, that's why we pay subscription fees and why we buy this shit because we want value for our money.
Yeah, and it's nice, like to approach it in such like a kind of like in a legal way. Like a lawyer comes in and nitpicks every single fucking word. That's good because if you really want to dive into it, it's like, okay, well, you referred to this and there's this and this and this and this. But if you're a new DM, just like, hey, this is how it goes. That's great to hear. It's for everybody.
It's really cool. They talk about, like, for new DMs, like some of the big problems that you're going to meet, and one of them is like scheduling. And there's a whole section on scheduling because scheduling is the #1 problem for every D&D table.
You mean like scheduling for the players?
Yeah, and there's suggestions in the DMG about how to mitigate that, how to deal with that, and how to talk. Like it's like that doesn't exist in other books. It's really, really cool. I liked seeing that. It's talking about stuff like just really simple things about how you can look at things. You don't have to really consult tables all the time. Just get a sort of a feel for what it is. Here's some suggestions and just go. It's really cool. It's very, very, very clever and very smart and easy and really well laid out. The first DMG, the 2014 one, was a little scattered all over the place. Like talking about campaigns happened later. Examples was like in the middle. How to be a good DM was like at the very end, and then it didn't really make sense, the layout. They made the layout very, very, very methodical and in a good way. It's like, okay, here's where you start. This is where you're going to go, and this is where you'll be at the end. And it's good. It's very, very well thought out and well articulated.
Nice.
I liked it a lot.
Take a word from our sponsor. As soon as they throw us some cash,
Hasbro.
Then
Hey.
You just punched your mic.
Yep. More forearm shivers. A little forearm shiver.
Hey, so what about 114 and what maybe we think is going to happen next?
Oh, boysy.
Because we got Mighty Nine and Bell's Hell's coming up because they released the moon from the lock.
Yeah, big moment, eh?
Whoa. But it doesn't change much, and the storm has gone, right? But it just means the moon is moving and the bridge is gone. However, there's still all that stuff going on the moon,
Yep. There's still a cage around the moon. How the fuck do they come back? Yeah.
Allura?
Okay.
I don't know.
Let's
Keyleth? If there's
rewind
a
here real quick.
tree up there?
Doesn't matter. All that divine gate, the lattice stops all of those teleportation shit.
Oish, yeah.
We know that because that's what the bridge was for.
Right.
There's the back door though. Interesting. Right. They just have to find that.
And maybe Matthew saw that coming and he put the back door there for a reason.
The back door.
The back there.
Quick little rewind. Let's go back a quick second. Let's talk about the end of 114 with Vax.
Yeah, oof, boy.
You get one night. Enjoy your night, she says. Right? Enjoy your night. So what does that mean? I want your take on this because my take on it is that she doesn't know what's going to happen up on the moon. So she's like, yeah, we might all run away, so you might be free. Bye. That's sort of that was one of my ideas. And then I'm like, or the other one is she's like, yeah, no, I'm still a bitch. You got to come back home to me. Keyleth doesn't get the happy ending. Ooh. What do you think?
I mean, in the four-sided dive. Sorry, I should get on the mic. In the four-sided dive and in the show, like this campaign, she's like, "No, I've made my peace with it. Like, I'm not getting him back. He's dead. I get that. I'm moving past, but I just don't want him to suffer at being the champion in this afterlife situation, whatever." I, I don't like that he has this. There's so much pressure on Marisha and
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
Liam right now,
mm-hmm.
in what like the beginning of the next episode. It's like, dude, what do we got to
Well,
do? What do
they're
we got to
done.
act out? You know?
That's it. Oh, you mean for Vox Machina?
Yeah, I mean, like
No, they're
it
done.
goes.
Vox Machina is done.
Well, I know, but okay, yeah,
Oh,
okay, fair enough. So like the people themselves don't actually have to act it out.
yes,
Sure, okay,
yes,
and good for
yes.
them because that is so much
Yep.
pressure. And
Yeah,
like,
like that's the it was the right way to end it because because you're right because it's way too much to deal with all that shit.
yeah,
No, we're starting next episode with either Mighty Nine or Bell Cells. My guess is Mighty Nine.
right,
Because it would make sense that they would say this is Bell's Hell's
and then
campaign. It
come
makes sense
back
that
to
they would
Bell
be saving
Cells
them
at
for
the
the
end.
last.
Yeah.
Well, also Bell's
Um.
Hells, I think, is going to be the one that fight Ludinus, so it's going to be a bigger, more important battle.
Yeah.
Which, in hindsight, is sort of a weird fucking way to do it because they throw the most powerful party at the Malleus Key, and then the second most powerful party at the Weave Mind, and then the third most powerful party at the fucking God Eater. It's a little back ass words, but all right, sure, we get it.
I'm expecting some deaths, which is fine. It's the
I
end of
hope
the
so.
campaign. I hope
Yeah.
some people die. I mean, I keep saying that. I
Hmm.
do like deaths. I like them.
Yeah.
I was very open about when Laudna died and they brought her back for
Yep.
whatever reason. I wasn't a fan.
Well,
Wasn't a fan.
yeah.
I
Well,
thought she should
it's
have
because
stayed dead.
Marisha flat out said she didn't want to play another character. She wanted to continue playing
Right.
Laudna. So
And
fair
that
play.
from that point forward, I was like, oh, so
Yes.
there's no danger of death.
No.
Okay.
Right.
And I was like, okay, well then
Mhm.
there's no actual danger in anything that's going to
Yeah.
happen. I lost
Yep.
interest in battles for the next like 6 months,
Mm.
frankly, because I was
Mm.
like, oh, if somebody dies and they don't want to be dead, they'll just come back to life. Okay.
Just coming
well,
back to life.
shit.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's
And then
it's
FCG
TNT.
happened, and it was oddly refreshing backwardly.
Right. That's the difference is that Sam was okay with it, and to let FCG go, and
It was
Marisha
also
wasn't okay with it. She
it was
didn't
also
want to let him go. So
it was also a little
yeah,
bit, due to real life situations.
that also
Right.
yes, yes.
But yeah, okay. So, as far as like Vax coming back just for the night, and like poor Keyleth has spent like this
Hmm.
last 30 years. She's like, yeah,
Hmm.
no, I've accepted it. No, I'm fine. I'm moving on. But Ravens keep showing up on her balcony every night.
Hmm.
And then Vax finally shows up again, and you could see her face at the table. She's like,
Yeah.
Marisha's just like,
Mm,
this sucks.
yeah.
You
This
know,
sucks. What are we doing
like
here?
this ex from 30 years ago is coming back just to reignite this shit and then leave again. This is fucked up, man. And then like for the actors at the
100%.
table, like I feel bad for the actors at the table. Like when Vex died, I was like, okay, she's probably going to get brought back because we've got Pike right there and we've got level 20 clerics, so divine intervention. I wasn't too worried about it. But then Matthew said like, what are your final thoughts as your breath leaves your body? I'm like, well, Matthew, isn't that a little premature? Final thoughts? She's probably
Yeah.
coming back. Let's
Yep.
not do this right now. So now there's
Mhm.
this pressure on Laura to say something impactful, and then she's back to life again. It's like, oh, okay, let's kind of forget what she said before.
Yep.
I don't know. I felt like it was too much. And then also watching Talison's face when she died is like, now he's like, fuck, need to act this character as soon as Percy finds out that she's dead. He
Yep.
needs to act like the love of his life is now
Yeah. It's
gone. So
Gone.
he's sitting there just like
What do I do?
dad eyes, just and then she
Mhm.
comes back and he's like, okay, I don't have to do
I
that.
don't have to deal with
scene."
that. I can push that aside and go
Yeah.
move on. Yeah. Yeah. I hear that. I hear you.
So I don't know. That whole thing was with Vex's death and Vax coming back for a night, I made me feel very uncomfortable. Like for the actors at the table, I was like, "Oh, you poor motherfuckers! Such big shoes to fill to do this kind of shit."
Yep.
But luckily, it kind of worked out in the end, you know. But like with Vax
and we
being
don't
there
have
for
to.
one
We don't have to
night,
worry about it. That's right. We don't have to worry about it. What the repercussions are going to be until for a fair bit, because we're going to be coming back to the Mighty Nine, and that'll be a few episodes, 3, 4 maybe. Bell's Hells,
so?
3, 4. Yeah, I do. Because if they do 2.5 episodes with Vox Machina, they're for sure going to do at least the same, if not more, and then probably more for Bell's Hells, and then we get the campaign wrap up shit.
Right, the post,
the epilogue or whatever. Well, the epilogue, whatever that might be.
If
the
there is one, maybe the world ends. Who knows?
Maybe.
Wait, but Vox Machina only had like 1.5 episodes, right?
No, they had 2.5.
They had 2.5.
114, 113, and one half of 112.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, of course. Yeah, that's what we're. Yeah,
right. That's what we've been saying this whole time.
Yeah, I'm sitting here thinking like, oh, well, yeah. What about stupid?
Yeah, Malleus Key. That entire 5-hour episode was all combat. Yeah, the entire thing.
And amazing and fairly simple, frankly.
Yeah.
8 level 20s. Take this thing out. Done.
Yep. Like I said, 5 hours, 4 rounds. 5 hours,
30 seconds.
24 seconds. Yeah, 24 seconds. Amazing.
Oy. Yeah. So we come back to
what a game.
Mighty Nine. What a game! What a mighty good game.
Well, listen, man, I don't got much more to say, and my ass is getting sore because this chair sucks.
Oh,
so, and I haven't eaten dinner yet.
Chair.
I know. I don't have mine. Mine is in Taiwan. I'll get one eventually. But yeah, also I'm hungry. I haven't eaten dinner yet.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, I got some broccoli sitting out there.
Broccoli, eh?
Yeah, she made some, that duck blood, that coagulated duck blood that's amazing, better than tofu, delicious, fantastic texture. She put some broccoli and some mushrooms in there. Yeah, I can't wait. But yeah, dude, we're over an hour. We haven't done this in ages.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Jesus. So we do have a new episode.
I'm done. Yes, we got a new one next week. Possibly we do another one of these this week. Jesus, it is Tuesday. This week we get another episode in a couple of days. And then maybe, so what are we looking at? That might be the last one of the month. We're at, it might, yes, one on the 21st. There probably won't be one on the 28th, which means we'll have one more before. And then they'll probably do 2 and then take a long Christmas break.
Right.
Which means we probably end on the Mighty Nine, come back in the new year with Bell's Hells, and then 3, 4 episodes, 5 maybe, and then we're done. Campaign 3 into campaign 4 for March, I believe. That's my prediction.
You think the turnaround's going to be that fast, huh?
I think it has to be. I don't think I don't think it makes business sense to drag it out for 6 months.
Unless they had something to fill in the gap, but that doesn't make sense because it's not critical.
It doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Right. Why do that? Like, people aren't going to tune in for that, I don't think.
Right.
Maybe I might be underestimating. Oh, did you ever watch Narrative Telephone?
I did. Yeah.
Yeah, I wanted a quick talk about it. It was great.
Yeah.
It was a fun story. Fucking Matt just ruined them all completely, which was fun to watch. It was great. I didn't really like the new format of them all sitting around in the room while they were watching each of their turns. I didn't like that. I would have liked to have watched each of their turns on my own without the commentary.
Right. I think I know what you're saying, because like when they did it initially, it was COVID times, but
right. But they did it after COVID times as well.
Yeah, sure.
This is new.
What I liked was their live commentary was put way down in the mix, because I wanted to hear what they're saying, but I remember at least the first or the second or whatever.
But it's still distracting. I agree with you. They're putting the mix way down. It's too distracting for me, and I found that slightly annoying. I hope they go back to the old way.
Yeah,
I hope they do. Or give us the option to. Like, if you're gonna put the video out there, like, hey, you can just skip ahead to this part, or you can watch them all.
Yeah.
That would be the more clever way to do it.
It's kind of like, because I want to hear what they have to say. I also want to
Yep.
hear the person's rendition of the story,
That's right.
but
That's right.
in sequence.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But also what they have to say. If it's not if it's not playing at the same time, then you don't know what the fuck they're talking about.
That's right.
Like, oh, what the jester?
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So
But
anyway, yeah.
I did like that it was buried a little bit because I wanted to hear their story, but I wanted to hear it kind of sequentially. Yeah,
Same,
as
same,
well.
same.
I
Yeah,
still
I hope
enjoyed it.
It was still very funny. It was narrative telephone was one of my favorite things to come out of the States in the pandemic. That was an amazing thing. I loved it, and I'm glad they're carrying on. Hope they keep doing it. I hope
Once
we
a
go back
month.
to the old way. I hope so. That'd
So
be
they
nice.
say, or so Mauritia said.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
Like,
Yep.
we'll be
Yep.
back
It'd be
next
great.
month with another one, and we got
Yep.
the what's the guy, Lewis?
Oh yeah, the from Downfall. Yeah.
Yeah,
Or
the guy who
Calamity.
played that
Calamity.
demon in season 3 as well, right? The same
Yes.
guy.
He played himself. He played the fallen paladin.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Brilliant.
Speaking of which,
Xerxes.
Xerxes, yeah, Xerxes.
Xerxes.
Speaking of which,
Xerxes.
in the show, I'm not sure what it was, but hearing his voice kind of took me away from the animation a little bit. It didn't seem like it fit
interesting.
in that well
Okay.
to me. But maybe it's just because I'm used to, the initial 8 or 7, 8
8.
doing their voices, and I'm used to them, but then also they're acting their voices a little bit more because they're in front of a mic. But when I heard his voice, I felt like it was just like sticking out a little bit. Like when you record your songs in the studio and the vocals are like not really sitting in the mix.
Right.
That's how I felt his voice.
They're out of them. Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it could be. It could be that just the mix was a little bit off, and it was sort of, or intentionally up a little bit to make it a little bit more impactful. I don't know. His storytelling was excellent. Like the animation thing about with all of the stained glass and the nod to Calamity and the brass ring was I loved that part.
It was terrific. It was really well done, well written, and everything. Yeah, it just kind of threw me off a little bit hearing his voice. I felt like it didn't sit in quite as well. I don't know.
Yeah, I watched a couple of the watch parties, and I remember Marisha talking about how she directed. Did she direct that one? She directed a couple of episodes or one episode. She directed a really big one. I forget which one it was, and they were talking about that scene. I might be mixing the two together again, but I think there was something about that. And Liam wrote and directed an episode. Marisha wrote and directed an episode. Yeah, go back and watch the watch parties if you want, or go and read the credits or whatever, and you'll see it's like, oh, wow, because Marisha fully wrote an entire episode. So did Liam.
Shit.
Liam fully wrote an entire episode. Sam and Travis were executive producers for everything, for the entire show. But I think they all sort of took turns, or whoever wanted to could write an episode. Yeah.
No shit. Because like, I felt like the first and second was like, okay, let's adapt this to an animation. And then the third one, I was like, oh, now they have writers.
Right.
Where they also sit at the table and be like, I had a little thing written here. The impenetrable wall, when Rayshawn took Thordak and then raised him up, re-undeaded him, as opposed to the animation. They still brought in the wall, right? Where, like, they're trying to hit it, and it's just not working. But then in the show, Grog actually breaks it down. But it was still there. It was, probably because people at the table or some super fan was like, can we throw that in there too? Just like make that a part of it somehow. They do that so well in that series. Just like the fan service. It's awesome to hear. This is the first I'm hearing that actually Liam or Marisha.
And but I don't know if Sam and Travis they might have. I don't remember, but I remember Marisha specifically talking about I don't remember which episode it was. It might have been the episode that Percy dies. That might have been the one that Marisha wrote.
That would,
because I remember them. Yeah, something like that. It was a very, very powerful, sad episode that she wrote, and she talked a lot about that. Might have been that one. I don't remember. Just comment down below if you know. Yep. Listen, man, I'm getting tired. I gotta wrap. Let's fucking wrap this up.
I'm getting tired too.
Okay.
I had one more thing I wanted to say. I'll have one more
Good
thing I
night,
want to
everybody.
say. Nope, that wasn't it. Shit. You might be right because I don't remember what it was.
Save it. If you do, save it for next week.
Man, it had something to do with the show. I'm going to remember it as soon as we go offline.
I'm sure you will.
All right. Well, then, fuck it. We're already an hour 10 in. We haven't done this in ages. All right, guys, we got to go. So, hey, if we're full of shit, whatever, get in touch. The best way is in the comments down there. We don't check our email. It's in the description, but we don't check that.
We did have, if you've made it this far, thank you guys for posting. We did read them. I think a couple of friends posted stuff from last week. I don't remember what. I could look it up, I suppose.
Oh, we had comment?
I think so.
Oh, no.
Somebody said something about something. Critters in Taiwan. Yeah, it was a month ago.
Last time we
potted. 3 weeks ago.
That's when it was?
Yes, that's 3 weeks ago. But it'd be like 3 weeks ago tomorrow or something like that. At Paul Bedard 5786 said awesome. CMLT says been a while. Oh, questions. Do you like the changes they made for Vox Machina Season 3? Have you checked out the Reslayer's take? And I commented. I replied, I think. Yes, very much like the changes from Vox Machina Season 3. Not into Reslayer's take. It's not my thing. I know you've watched it, right?
Me or him?
You.
Me? Watched what?
Reslayer's take. Didn't you tell me about you'd watch that?
Reslayer's take?
Yeah, the other D&D, the other campaign.
No, this is the first I've heard of it.
Okay. It's been on the channel for a while. It's just a short little campaign of something.
On
stuff.
On the Critical Role
the Slayers
Twitch?
On the Critical Role YouTube channel, I think.
Oh,
might
YouTube?
Be on Twitch too,
sure. I don't check it I don't check YouTube.
Oh, there we go. That's why.
Oh, yeah. I mean, is it worth checking out?
It's not my jam.
Not your jam. Okay.
No.
All right. I might give it a look.
That's it.
Maybe it is my jam. Yeah,
maybe it might be. Go check it out.
Yeah. We'll go check it out. We got a new episode this week, though. All right. Well, hey, we got to go. I'm getting tired. I got to pee.
Yep.
It's 9 o'clock. Jeez. So, yeah, get in touch in the comments down there. We'll eventually get to it, as we just proved to you. Follow him.
We do love you all, though.
Yeah, of course. I mean, if we met you, I'm pretty sure we would get very fond of each other. Follow this guy. All socials at bengreenspoon. Follow me at drummatucka on Instagram. I don't have anything to promote right now. I got a show on New Year's, but
I have a primary school talent show to promote.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm not promoting anything because you can't come. It's private property. Sorry.
Oh, well, you can, throw eggs.
There's like they're children. They're children. We have safety concerns. We're not even allowed to. I'm not even allowed to videotape it and show it to anybody. It's a breach of contract.
And our viewers are not allowed within 200 meters of any child.
That's also true.
Yeah. So stay out of Thailand, motherfuckers.
True.
But we have an episode to watch this weekend.
Yep, we do.
Things have been a little bit spotty for both of us as far as our. As you can tell, we haven't potted in like 3 weeks, maybe a month. I guess it's 3 weeks, right?
It's been a month.
It's been a month. Yeah. So there's a good chance that we're gonna be back here on our Tuesday.
We hope so. Yeah, we hope so. Should be.
I guess. And then our Wednesday where it's up, yeah, all that stuff. Anyway, keep in touch. If nothing else, Ben.
No, man, I'm good.
All right, cool. Don't forget to love each other. And is it finally Friday? Peace, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us.
Peace, y'all. We love you.
We'll see you in a week.
In a week.
Cheers.
Word.